Our next speaker goes by the name of Peter Oosterwijk. You see, Peter is an investor, he's an advisor, and he's a good figure in the startup and entrepreneurship world. Now, if I have to think about how can I describe Peter in 3 words, like what 3 words did I use to describe Peter? I would say 1, he's a change maker. That's a big one. I would say 2, he's a thinker and he's a doer. But if I had to pick just 1 to describe Peter, just 1 word, I would say Peter is a future shaper. What do I mean by that? Whenever we have a problem, we try to solve the problem from what can we do now to protect the future. But what if we could think about what can we do the other way around? So looking at the future and seeing the impact on what it could have now. Without further ado, I want to bring on Peter Oosterwijk to the stage.
Thank you. Think back to a moment when you were alone in a room and a subtle shift in the air makes your skin tighten. Something is about to happen. You don't know what it's going to be. You can't quite grasp it, but you feel it in your body. Your gut knows first, and you try to make sense of it. Animals have this too, and then they call it instinct. And you know the phrase of they fight and they flee, they fawn. We humans often forget that we have this capability too. And I will ask you, can you sense the future? Not the next minute, the next hour. Can you feel the future years from now? I've been working for 30 years as a creative strategist in innovation and transformation. And my job is to, create the shift in the room, or in a total organization, or an entire market. And sometimes this goes with plans and strategies, big arrows and sticky notes in walls, war rooms they are called. And they make plannings to get us from A to B. B being the future, A being the current, the now. But what gets us to A? It's often called a roadmap or a process, an implementation, a dot on the horizon. You know those words. And then it's a bit foggy, but you will get to the future somewhere. But what we actually are doing, we are stuck in A, fixing yesterday's problems in a slightly better design. Making little steps. Sometimes they call it scrum or sprint, but it's a little step. Maybe sometimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And we crawl with little steps to the future. So when we are building a future, if we are building a future, but when we are building a future, we do it in little steps. And I think in building a future, we have to use the word shape the future. Because you don't want to be an archer, you don't want to be a passenger in a journey where somebody else has the steering wheel. You want to be the architect of your future, don't you? I would like to. So, in shaping the future is all about perspective. Can we use the A perspective, the current, the now? Are we gonna fix the problems of yesterday, building a slightly better future? Or do we choose the B perspective, looking back from the future to the A? And to do this, you might think that's very hard. I cannot predict the future. I don't know what technology is then, how AI is demolishing all our jobs. But don't think about that. You don't have to predict every product, every service, every company. You don't have to do this. The only thing you have to do is project the future through the eyes of someone who has to be born yet. So in 20 years, look through the lens of someone who is 18 years old. And she looks back to the now, to where you are now. And then ask this fictive person, what would you take along with you to the future? And what would you rather leave behind? And it's not only asking this question to one person, you keep asking this question to a doctor from the future, a cab driver from the future, and so forth. And you stack all those perspectives in one B perspective, which is not a dot on the horizon, but is a built-up story, very vividly. It comes to life. I'll tell you a story. B is life too, waiting to happen. So from the B perspective, we need a few things rather than just making a nice drawing with a sketch artist. We have to bring it to life. We have to listen. And if you're gonna be listening, it's something different than be listening. Listen to the B. We have B listening. We have B questions. We have B connections. And I want to take you on a little journey on how the B perspective can work for you. I make it a lot easier to remember. It's forget the B, the perspectives and the connections. It's rather easy. You have to feel the future. We have to flip the frame. And we're going to funk our minds. I will take you along. To feel what's the future going to be, it's about sensing. And one of our most valuable senses we have is, as you do right now, is listening. And I use language to bring across a message or a feeling. But it's language that's given to me by people that taught me years ago. It aren't even my own words. I am using the words that were drawn up, they're thought up in history. Yesterday words. So there was a great philosopher, and he said that if you look at the future, your language limits how you see it. And I believe he's right. Because if we keep seeing this as a process, and that as a faraway dot on the horizon, there's no real attraction. There's no longing to be in the future. We don't want to go this roadmap. We don't want to go this path. We want to stay in the A because it feels comfortable with the words we have, with the values we embrace. So talking about B might feel hard, but in the process of innovation and transformation, shifts, tiny shifts, often whisper before they speak out loud. And what do I mean with whispering? It's not that it is silent, but you can feel something is wrong. So when you are in education, we are still talking about the student that's learning and the teacher, and the teacher. But what if those words get new meanings? What if work in the future is learning instead of us now learning to find a job and then, compute our way to the end of our life and then do the work? So in sensing the future, it's words that keep repeating itself and you find awkward, you find uncomfortable with. And you ask yourself the question, does this feel right? I sense something is going on. Because we can now talk about productivity tools. And you know, those are designed to make your life, your work easier. Saves you time. But when we look at it better, it just might be that it's not saving us time, it's asking us to do more in little time. Maybe a productivity tool is not relieving you, giving you time, but pulling it away from you. Maybe it's causing stress even. And we can use language to define things differently. So if you don't want to get to B, find words not to get there. And we have those words already. We invented, you have fight the competitor. We have to find targets to kill. We nailed this son of a bitch. We talk like this. This is very aggressive. There's no love. There's no connection. And these are our most valuable assets. We as human beings, we only want three things, I would say. Real connection, time to spend as you like, and recognition. Does a productivity tool help you to find love, to find this connection? I would doubt it. So from sensing the future, we have to flip the frame. And flipping the frame is actually, imagine a frame standing here between A, the current, and I walk through the frame. The frame is flipped already. It does it automatically. So no program is needed here. To flip the frame, it's asking the question, what if the opposite were true? It's a B question, you understand. So in the current, we are doing things the way we do it, finding targets, nailing customers. But let's give me an example. A friend of mine, Philip Jonker, he's an inventor and an entrepreneur, and he makes this magnificent, tiny submarines. There's little boats underwater to save other boats. That's what he is doing now. But when he was an artist, he was about to become a father. So the first thing that he came up with to do as a father was to buy a new car, of course, because his vulnerable little child should travel safely, of course. And you can find a car that is, well, might be a bit expensive, but maybe you find a second-hand with a good airbag, a steady frame, iron all around, cruise control and whatever. But he did the other thing. He was asking himself, what is it that I have to do with my child? I have to be very, very careful. What he built was a race car from ceramics, one of the most breakable stuff you can imagine. And he even raced it with it. And not all the tension in the car he calculated prior to building it, but he built the most vulnerable car ever built. But in reality, he built a mindset. He was flipping the frame. What's most important? Is it a car? And do I trust on technology and materials? Or do I trust myself in being a good dad? And I think in every big transformation, in every small implementation, we have to ask ourselves, are we doing what is said? Are we solving the problem of time? Or are we creating the problem of time? So now that we have flipped the frame, you can do it easily by asking, what if the opposite were true? What if I learned from you today instead of me trying to teach you something? And then the most powerful tool, I think, to come from A to B and conquer, I'm using this word too, to conquer the pathways, the roadmaps, the stepping stones, the planning, all those technical, controlling, not very nice words. What other words can we use? If in B there would be a possible partner, I would like to feel attracted. A clear attraction to B would be the best thing. Then I move myself and I try to, well, look pretty or something, or be funny, or be with my possible partner. And I hope that you feel this is a different energy than being in a scrum meeting, on a Kanban board, on a sprint meeting with planning and yoga cards and whatever to set this little tiny step, and you created your own new possible well, you're stepping away from what was yesterday, but you're not stepping into the future. Make the future clear as hell and magnetic as hell. A love magnet. Call the future your love magnet. And you will ask yourself different questions. You will do different stuff. This is flipping the frame. And I promise you that we're going to funk too. And I'm going to funk with your mind. And you know the music style funk. Either you like it or you massively love it. You cannot do other things than move on Prince, James Brown. They are funky. They want to funk. And James Brown once said, you cannot learn from people who are having the same life. So when it comes to learning from people, find people that think differently. It can even be like-minded people that think differently. So ask the artist, the entrepreneur. I already did this. Ask another artist. Ask the one in the room that has never have said a word, the one without a role. And you are crossing your minds. And why do I tell this? Because in funk, in the music funk, there's this beat. But between those beats, the magic happens. You could say it's offbeat. There's a nice word for it. It calls syncopation. Syncopation is jamming, is funking with the beats. So your steady rhythm is off, and then you get this ready. And ooh, and a whole audience start to dance. I thought, in my script, it said everybody was dancing. But if you funk your mind, it's doing the stuff between the beats. So don't go with the flow. Don't do the A flow. Don't be the process guy. Don't follow the rules. Actually, I'm not saying break the system, fuck this. I'm not saying this. I'm only saying don't go with the flow. What your mind made up might be that we have to try to get those systems out of our way. But the systems are there. Like trees in a wood, like trees in a forest. They are there. But you still can find a place to relax or a place to bike. This is between the beats. And the same you can do when you are in a conversation or in a meeting or negotiating or traveling. You can do the other thing that's not on the beat. Syncopation. So syncopation is getting from A to B in your own groove. Your own groove between the beats. The beats are still there. But you have to find your own stepping road, your own groove to your love magnet. Sounds better, I think, than let's go see if we find a dot on the horizon and then made a strategy and a planning and then, hey. So if we want to feel the future, if you want to flip the frame, and if you are open to funk your mind, then you are in the B perspective. And the B perspective has a clear attraction. I love the future. Thank you.